which is to use theater to help children discover the world. This semester, she developed a senior thesis in which she observed, practiced, and then led exercises with a kindergarten class in Cedar Rapids. It was a beautiful experience for her and for the children. Next year, she'll begin an internship at Seattle Children's Theater, and those Seattle children are very, very lucky. Our undergraduate speaker is Kizzy Marco.
So if I do, you can all thank John Cameron for making me emotionally available, because now I can control my emotions, so that's great. Anyone in this room who has taught me over the past 4 years will probably be shocked to hear that although I've had weeks to prepare this speech, I just started writing it the other day. I know, you can't believe it, right? I kept waiting for something brilliant to come to me. I wanted to have this phenomenal idea to leave my class with, and it wasn't coming. And then the other day I was talking to Carol in the lobby about what an amazing experience it is to have New Play Festival and to be a part of a community that shuts down the world for a week to do theater and to support new work. I don't know anyone or anywhere else that does that. So we were talking about that, and both Carol and I, a little bit passionate, you might say. And then I went outside and I sat on the steps right out here and looked at the river and just thought about the last 4 years and what has happened since I've been here. And something really hit me. I remember this afternoon in June of 2008 more than I can remember pretty much any day in my life. I was sitting in a sunny office building in Chicago for my summer job, and I was working really hard and went on Facebook, and I noticed that Kate Stopa had added some photos, so I clicked on them. I'm sure I was working really hard, and I saw devastating photos of the Iowa River invading the theater building, and I was crushed. I nearly fell off my chair. I heard about the flood, and I knew it was coming. Google News was keeping me updated, but I could never have imagined how terrible it was until I saw those images. And I got mad because I looked out the window and I saw people walking along, living their lives, and I was like, our home is being taken from us. How can you be in Chicago walking on the street and not helping us? Like, hello? And I just needed it to stop, and I was so scared and hurt, and as the weeks went on, more bad news just kept coming, and thank you, Mother Nature, for all that rain, right? And it just, nothing was improving, and the estimates of damages went from, 100,000 to several $100 million in damage, most of which came from the arts campus. And it wasn't long before people were wondering if the theater department could even offer classes in the fall. But in mid-July, I came back here to Iowa City to have a FEMA inspection at my apartment, which just happened to be across the street from the theater building, and I turned onto Riverside Drive, and it is safe to say that no Facebook photo, sorry Kate Stopa, could ever have prepared me for what I saw when I turned onto Riverside Drive, and the theater building looked like a skeleton of its former self. It didn't even look like anything I had recognized, and it was a month later, and men were still in hard hats picking up debris and cleaning up, and I just thought to myself, there is no way we can move on from this. There is just no way. I think, August or ever, it's not going to happen. And so I got to my apartment, which was demolished and covered in mold and mud, and I didn't even want to think about what our precious red carpet out here in the lobby possibly would look like. So I went home, and I got home to Chicago, and I went straight to my computer, and I opened up my email, and I sent a very emotional email to David McGraw, because what do you do when you have a problem? Well, you take it to David. And David replied to me very promptly, being the stage manager that he is, and to this day, You know, I wrote to him about how I wasn't coming back, and I said, we are crippled, and I can't, this is too painful, and I'm not coming back, and give me some advice, tell me something. And to this day, his response to that email still just gives me chills. And in true David McGraw fashion, he first gently addressed everything I said, and then he packed in a punch. And he said, you should be here on day 1 of classes so that you can share and sympathize and complain with your classmates. Join us for daily challenges in August as we move our scene shop to the old Menards and equip rehearsal spaces in unlikely places like science buildings and church halls. Great. And he said, as awful as this disaster has been, the recovery is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come together and prove that theater is more than a building. David's beautiful, beautiful words were exactly what I needed to hear, and if not for him, I would not be graduating from this university. And anyone who knows me knows that I hate to utter these words, but David, you were right. Theater is more than a building. Everything changed when classes started in August of 2008. I'll never forget. We had that first departmental meeting in the dance hall, and I was looking at Alan, addressing all of us, saying, you know, here's the chaos, here are the changes, here's the nightmare that we're living. And I looked around at my class that sits in front of me, and nobody blinked. And I was so inspired. And I think that is just one of the many ways that theater people are different than regular people. And some of the non-theater parents in the room, including my own, are saying, you think? Crazy! And I'll buy it. We are crazy. Crazy enough to come back to a broken school to rebuild together what we lost together. Crazy enough to lay claim on the mill over any other bar on this campus because we want to be able to talk to and hear each other, even if it is Saturday night. And I know that the general population may think that we are over-dramatic and over-emotional. However, our work demands that kind of art. We have this insatiable hunger for life and love and experiencing the world, and we take on characters that are not our own, and we tell stories that cannot otherwise be told, and we do this on nights and weekends when other students at this university are partying or studying. But we do all of that. We do all of that so that we can breathe life into these stories, and so that we can affect the lives of people who come willing to listen to them. And, you know, being compassionate and being bold and being honest are not just helpful in this process, they are necessary, and I would be damned if the world is not better for that. Great theater is all about taking risks. I think that's something we all know, and I think we all have that finance major friend who laughed and mocked us when we declared theater as our major. But the funny thing about creating art is that it's not constrained to a place or a time or material resource like a building. And so when a flood comes, we continue to create. And when the economy fails, my finance major friend, we continue to create. And when life is painful and beautiful and complicated and horrible, we continue to create, and that is something we will always have. It's hard to believe that 4 years ago we came here as freshmen. We were, well, 4 years for most of us.